The Entrepreneurial Journey podcast. We're talking business and building a culture that's kick-ass. Where we make it happen, grab your seat, let's have a blast. At the Entrepreneurial Journey podcast.
If you love the entrepreneurial journey, how about subscribing and giving us a 5-star review? Wherever you get your podcasts, follow or subscribe and give us a positive review so more entrepreneurs out there don't need to feel alone. Thanks. Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey podcast. Today I have Naz Hussain with me. Hi Naz, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. I'm waiting for our summer to arrive. It is raining yet again. But hey ho. You describe yourself as the Supreme Commander, which I think is my favourite title for somebody who runs a business, of Breakneck Comedy in Aberdeen. What is Breakneck Comedy in Aberdeen? Tell our audience all about it.
It's just a comedy club that organises shows in Aberdeen mainly, but we also do shows all over Scotland in various locations.
Yeah.
Just promoting comedians, really. Nothing special, really. I'm sure you've had better guests than me with, but yeah.
You're really selling it to me, Naz.
Yeah, my job I just put on LinkedIn Supreme Leader as I just thought it was funny. I noticed James Watt at Brewdog had Captain, so I thought, oh, what can I do to beat Captain? And I thought, Supreme Leader seems to be. But yeah, it's just a bit of a joke.
It's good. I love it. How on earth did you get into the business of running a comedy club?
Yeah, it was just by chance, really. I just never really planned it. It was just back in the day. I was doing like a temporary. When you're trying to find a job and you go to a recruitment agency and they'll send you on temporary positions.
Yeah.
So they sent me to work in the medical records department. I couldn't believe it. Just for a couple of weeks. And during my fag break, I went for a cigarette and I bumped into a guy that was also on his cigarette break, and we just got chatting, and then he gave me a flyer for a comedy show that he was thinking about doing.
Right.
And so I went along, loved it, and then the second time I went, he closed it down. He says, I wasn't getting enough people coming along. I'm thinking about shutting it down and all that stuff. And so we just got chatting, and I goes, I'll give it a try and see what I can do with it. And yeah, the rest was history, really.
I love that. So had you ever thought about running your own business at that point?
I thought about it a few times, but nothing really. There was no sort of plan for it. I was just kind of looking for jobs, really.
Right.
And yeah, it just kind of happened by chance. I was running a football team before that, so just Sunday mornings, nothing special, just an amateur Sunday league, and then so it was a lot of organisation, washing kits and all that stuff. So that's the only experience in people that I had, really.
So you went from washing football kits to booking comedians. A natural progression, Naz, in anybody's career.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just it turned out I happened to be good at one thing only, which was comedy promotions.
Do you know, I think that's the same for most entrepreneurs. They go, I'm quite good at this, so I better just stick at it.
Yeah.
and then you do get better and better. So did you have to like buy the business off this guy?
No, he just gave me the domain and a wee mailing list that he had. Like, yeah, so I didn't even have to buy it. I just kind of, it wasn't really a business then. It was just more like a hobby sort of thing, something to do for fun.
Right.
So I started it off, and the first night was on, it was a Sunday night in January,
Right.
and back then back when I started, there wasn't any social media or anything. It was, I think you maybe had Bebo, but apart from that, there was nothing. So it was just a case of doing it the hard way, just putting up posters and going into flats in the morning and just putting posters on the shops and stuff. And so I wasn't sure, there wasn't even a website that could allow people to book tickets. It was just turn up at the door and hope for the best, really. And the first night, it was absolutely, there was a blizzard. It was chucking it down. And I was thinking, oh, this is. So basically, I see if the first night nobody turned up for the first night, I would have just jacked it in. I would have just thought,
Right.
right, I've tried my best. It's not worked. But even though it was snowing, we still managed to pack the place out. So it was really such a good buzz. And I thought, oh, this is really good. I'll try another one. So I tried another one, and that was quite busy. And then word started getting around that we're running a good show. So, and it just kind of grew arms and legs. And next thing you know, we're doing like shows every week and organizing all these other events around the country and stuff.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And well done for everybody turning up in a blizzard for comedy. But I guess, and we are dating ourselves. I remember Bebo. I remember it being a thing. I remember Friends Reunited. All right. So that really
Oh
ages me.
yeah,
Yeah. That came before Bebo. What was the other one? MySpace.
yeah.
And yeah, you're right. You couldn't book tickets online. It wasn't a thing. So do you think now people, if you were starting from scratch now, would people turn up in a blizzard to a comedy event live, do you think?
Oh, it's. I don't think so. I don't think
No,
so. I could be wrong,
no.
but there was a lot of the amount of work that we had to put in just to get that night busy. It was,
Yes.
a lot of flyering for weeks and all that stuff. And but whereas these days it's just, you promote it all on social media. It's a lot easier, but also there's a lot more competition now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. To get people in on a Sunday night in Aberdeen now, it's really difficult unless you've got a big name or something.
Yeah. I've kind of noticed nowhere near on your scale, but maybe 15 years ago, I would hold evening events that people would turn up to. It would be midweek, and I would fill a room with people.
Yeah.
And now it's so much harder to get people to come out to stuff. Like you say,
Yeah.
you've got to have a name, haven't you?
Yeah. It's used to be nobody cared who was on. It was just there for a comedy show. Now it's really they're looking for a particular person.
Yeah.
But because it's so easy for people to promote events now, it's what happens is every jump, it just becomes everybody starts jumping on it.
Yeah.
Like when I first started, other venues would probably do a comedy show maybe once every 6 months or something. And now
Right.
it's like, but it is what it is. It's always a changing market.
Yeah. And
But
do you have your own fixed venue, like fixed building now in Aberdeen?
yeah, we've got our own place. We're on King Street. So
Uh-huh.
and it's next door to St Andrew's Cathedral. And it's just, yeah, it's a really good space. It's kind of hidden away, which we kind of like it like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good.
And
and it gives, you know, we're trying to book different headliners every weekend, and keep the lineups fresh and things like that. So yeah, it's really fun. Last
yeah,
weekend we had a local comedian called Dr. Dave, and
right.
it was both shows were sold out, so that was quite nice.
Yeah, that's good.
It's quite hard to get a double sellout in Aberdeen these days, so it was quite nice that
Yeah,
we got that.
yeah. Oh,
So yeah,
that's good. At what point then did you go, okay, I've got enough momentum here to did you buy the place? Do you lease it? Or, did you think, right, I've got enough to have an actual venue? How many years in were you?
um, so the place we're at, we've only been there for a couple of years,
Right.
but we got our first place in 2017.
Okay.
So it was about 7 years. I think we started in 2010, so it was about 7 years of just continually doing shows in other venues, and
Yeah.
eventually got to the point where I was looking to put on more shows, and you know, so we eventually got our own place. And obviously after the pandemic, I had to close that place down,
Yeah.
which was a bit of a nightmare. But we started up again once they let us reopen in a smaller place.
Right.
But then that place turned out to be too small for some of the names that we were getting, because it was like, oh. So yeah, we've ended up sort of getting a nice place now.
Oh, that's
It's
good.
yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Did you know at TriCrest we've built a kick-ass culture coach and consultant program? So if you're a business coach or consultant and you're looking for something new, add to your toolbox, or even escape the 9 to 5, join us at our next event. Links in the information on the podcast. See you there. Did you have to close the business down completely during COVID, or could you keep any of it going?
Um, during like, because we were one of the first to close down and the last to open it. So basically, we had to close for pretty much 17 months,
Yeah.
which was a bit annoying because they let us open and then they changed their minds. People started coming back,
Yeah.
and then we weren't making money when it was all social distancing. So it means we could only fit like 15 people in, like 2 meters apart. It was a bit of but we just done them anyway, which is a little bit annoying. But what can you do? Everybody was affected. It wasn't
Yeah.
just ourselves. And seeing the aftermath as well, it wasn't just like lockdown wasn't too bad, but it was that the aftermath, what it's done to bars and stuff now. Some of them that used to be rammed before COVID are now struggling a little bit. And it's just, I think just because people's habits change, they didn't. Most of the time, people used to always go out every Friday, Saturdays, drinking in the pubs and stuff, and I think people just got used to drinking indoors and things like that. So,
Yeah.
so
It's
yeah,
true. Yeah, it's
it's
true.
yeah.
Well,
So
well done for still being here.
yeah, I know it's a miracle.
It is a flipping miracle. Well done for hanging on in there. So let's get into the controversial thing. I saw on LinkedIn that you'd posted a question, which is, should you have Katie Hopkins as one of the comedians? Would it be for your club or just booking her elsewhere? Was it for Aberdeen?
It was for Aberdeen and a few other locations such as Elgin, Grangemouth,
Right,
I think Cumbernauld.
right.
Basically, it was the only venues that would take her. The
Yeah.
rest, there was a lot that wouldn't allow her, which was I mean, she got in touch, which was quite surprising. I wasn't expecting her to kind of reach out, but she was just kind of, you know, looking for venues, because she was selling out. She's doing tours in England, and she's selling out all over England.
She is. Yeah, she is.
Yeah, so yeah, it's yeah, I don't, but yeah, it's one of those things, is it?
Well, we for our overseas listeners, Katie Hopkins is our version of, what would you say for the American audience? Because we have quite a big American audience. She's kind of like she's not a Tucker Carlson, but she's definitely right of center without a shadow of a doubt, and she has some views that people find difficult, and that she has some views that people find offensive. Let's not beat about the bush on this. But she has a huge following. So I would put her in the category of, do you remember Roy Chubby Brown?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah, so Roy Chubby Brown he was big in the 80s, I think, and 90s. And his humor was very, very crude, really sexist, very kind
Yeah,
of childish slapstick.
we
And,
were about to get. He was another one that got in touch, and he was asking about doing shows.
yeah,
But literally, I couldn't get any venue to take him. It was
no,
literally every single venue says no.
yeah. So Katie Hopkins is like she's not crude in that way, but she's like the female let's not touch with a barge pole type thing. And I was really intrigued because on LinkedIn it was a fairly close poll. Can you remember the stats when it closed, of people who said yes you should book her and no you shouldn't book her?
I think it was almost 50-50, to be
It
honest.
was almost 50-50. It was like 48,
I remember.
52 in favor of people saying no, don't book her. So I guess you didn't go ahead and book her, or maybe you did. I don't know.
Yeah, it was so close that we ended up booking her, but it's it's caused a bit of drama,
Has
which
that?
we didn't really hope. Like, yeah, we just I asked a few people, and they were like, "Oh, is it going to make you money?" And I was like, "Yeah," but yeah, it was just it's just I don't know. It's just it's caused a little bit of drama,
Right.
but it's also the people commenting nasty stuff are then pushing our adverts up the news feed, which is selling the tickets. So it's like, oh, but yeah, I don't know. I thought I'd drop just I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't agree with, like, it's not for. Normally, we book a lot of comedians where I don't always have to agree with what they
No,
say,
totally.
and I'm somebody that kind of promotes inclusivity. You know, a lot of our headliners are female. We book a lot of disabled comedians. We try and book a mixture of kind of everybody rather than
Yeah.
just kind of.
Yeah.
So we're trying to promote, and the last thing I hate is, you know, is censorship, because where does it end, and
Yeah.
this cancel culture.
Yeah.
Um, one of my most successful acts I've booked was Karen Dunbar, and she was a victim of the whole cancel culture. But there was a lot of people that wanted to see her, absolutely love her.
Right.
So I booked her, and yeah, she was really great for the business,
Right.
So I was kind of
So,
looking at it like that. But
I mean,
um,
I agree with you. I think one of the comments I put on was, look, I don't agree with everything Katie Hopkins says either, but if you start banning comedians, then where does it end? And also, if you don't like what she says, just don't buy a ticket. I think it's
yeah,
pretty
I know.
straightforward.
I mean, yeah, I know. It's just, and the thing is as well, like, there's accusations that she's a racist and things like that. And if she is a racist, it's really difficult. Like, there's a lot of people saying that, I'm somebody that is trying my best to fight against racism,
Yeah.
like, and I feel like the worst thing I can do about this whole racism thing is just slam the door on people.
Yeah,
because then it's just going to make them even more racist. And I actually thought,
totally.
well, actually, how about, you know, if she is a racist, I thought to myself, wait a minute, how about I'll show her how good I am at my job, what contribution I'm doing, for the Scottish economy,
Yeah,
well, it's not bait out. Okay, maybe that's a bit too far, but, like, maybe she'll come away thinking, actually, these immigrants aren't actually as bad as I think they are, sort of thing, So I'm actually trying to convince, I think for, unless we could all mix together and work together and stuff like that, the worst thing we could ever do for racial relations is you go at that side of the road and you stand
totally.
there and I don't
Yeah,
like you and you
totally.
know it's like if we get into a shouting match or we can't fight it with violence because that just
No,
makes them more racist. We can't if you start if you start a shouting match, it just becomes like, well, actually, it's just two dogs barking at each other. Really,
yeah,
that's all it is. So I thought, do you know what? Let's open the door a little bit,
yeah,
And I
totally.
just think everybody can kind of learn from this.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
totally
taking
agree.
bullets for it, like,
Well, well done. I think it's a shame that in the 21st century you can't put on a comedian who who is within the law. You know, they're within the law, and I think
yeah.
that's a real shame because the arts. I know crown comedy is the arts has always pushed boundaries, has pushed buttons, has, taken pops at the establishment and
Mhm.
has gone against current narratives. And I think that's the purpose of it. If you go back to Shakespeare, the fool in Shakespeare is the one that said the unsayable. And
Yeah.
that's I think that's the sort of um I think that's the place we have to come from. And if you don't like them as a comedian, don't go and see them. But don't stop other people from seeing them and enjoying them because they don't share your view of the world, and that's okay. And I've no idea whether she's a racist, and as she may or may not be, but you're absolutely right. You don't not talk to people just because of their beliefs. You treat them like a normal human being.
I
Um,
mean, I did think it through, and I thought to myself, if I was in hospital and I need a surgery to save my life, and then that surgeon refused to treat me because he didn't agree with my views, then is that allowed?
no,
So why should I then, me as a promoter, that has to be impartial. I don't get involved with politics. I don't get
no.
involved, My job is just to kind of see a demand for somebody and then, you know, just sell the tickets.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna now I know you've booked her. I'm gonna book my tickets because I want to go and I want to hear what she has to say because you only get like clips and reports, and it's like I actually want to hear what she has to say from her mouth so I can make a decision myself. And
yeah, that's true.
I may not like her, but at least I'll have heard it straight from her mouth, and I'll know then whether she is a racist and whether she isn't. And if she is, then I'll probably never see her again because that's not a nice thing. So yeah, but I want to decide for myself. So
Yeah, that's the thing. It's sometimes we get. Do you know what I hate the most?
what,
Is this reverse? I call it reverse racism.
right?
Because I'm somebody that kind of mingles with everybody. I've got loads of gay and lesbian friends. I've got, I've got comedians that are trans and all that stuff. And sometimes I get the impression that people look at me and go, "Oh, you look like, because I'm the color of my skin." They just assume that I'm against, I'm homophobic, or I don't
Ah,
like that women speak, or all. It's just like, yeah, you've
ah,
never met me,
yeah,
but yet you're jumping on this. So I get them, But after 5 minutes of meeting each other, they were just like, nobody cares,
Yeah. I
But,
don't I don't care.
but
I've often said this on the podcast. I don't care what the outer wrapper of the human looks like. It's what's on the inside that counts.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
only
that's true.
thing that
But
counts. Definitely. Amazing. Okay. So why did I didn't know Karen Dunbar got cancelled. Why did she get cancelled? What heinous crime did she commit, Naz?
I actually don't know. I just heard it from her when she was telling her stories on stage.
Right.
Uh, I think maybe she viewed her opinions on maybe COVID or something, and then
Oh, okay.
you know, they try and cancel you, sort of thing, and
Oh,
which is a bit of a shame. But I don't actually know the exact. Not something I don't always look into every single, read everybody's material and stuff.
no. Why would you?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's
Who's the most famous person you've booked?
most famous. Oh, it's really difficult. Probably Karen Dunbar, to be honest.
Yeah,
I didn't real like when I booked her, like I was booking the Still Game acts,
right.
the guys from Still Game, and I thought, and I was booking them individually, and they were selling really well, and I thought to myself, oh, I wonder if Karen Dunbar would be interested in this, even though it was a TV show that kind of nobody kind of remembers that hasn't been on the TV for 20 years.
It hasn't.
So I really wasn't sure how that was going to play out, but um, she sold so fast the
Wow.
tickets, like she does like double sellouts everywhere that she goes for us.
Wow.
So we've got her back doing another 20 shows in November,
Brilliant.
and yeah, she's a good friend of mine now. I think so. After November, it would have been about 60 shows with her.
No way.
Yeah, so
Oh, amazing. Oh, well,
so
good for you. And who?
but
Oh, you can't. Do you know what, Naz?
yeah.
I was about to say, who would you never get back? But I'm not going to put you on the spot. That would be unfair to say you can't really
Katie
name them.
Hopkins. No, I'm only joking. No, part of me feels like I feel like I'm booking her. I want to know if people are saying, because I don't think I've ever met a racist
No,
before. I know I see,
right.
like I walk about the streets and I just feel like there's no racism. It's only when I see the comments, the keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. Well, I feel like we all need to kind of live together and work together and not kind of. If we go down this route of cancel culture, where does it end, really? Where does the
Yeah.
censorship end?
It does. And who's in charge of deciding what should be censored and what shouldn't be censored? And history tells us, Naz, that the people who end up deciding that don't tend to be nice people in the end.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem, is it? It's yeah, it's just this is why I like things like podcasts and things like that because there's no, but you never know. They might end up censoring that as well because they're
Mm,
worried that people can't make their own minds about things, and I just feel like, well, I want
yeah.
to, yeah.
Do you listen to Joe Rogan?
He, I don't want to say listen to the podcast, but see on TikTok, I see his little videos pop up, and
Right.
yeah. But I'm
Right.
seeing the AI versions of it, so it's
Oh,
not
right.
really, which is scary because you think, it's like Joe Rogan and his mouth is moving and he's trying to promote something else, and it's like, oh, this AI thing.
He's not on TikTok, so that's not Joe.
Yeah, and it's terrifying because it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's, yeah,
I
that's another
I
worry, isn't
heard
it?
I heard of a big company, huge multinational. It was in the Financial Times, so I'm not giving anything away. They just lost 20 million quid because the criminals took a recording of a meeting of their directors, put it through deep fake AI, and created a recording of the directors saying to put certain amounts of money into certain bank accounts and giving the instructions to finance to do it. And the deep fake was so good that they lost 20 million quid.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
It's I think that's the real issue right now, is it? It's because
Yeah.
what's it going to be like in 3 years' time? You won't
Yeah.
know the difference.
No. Don't you think, though? I think that will make us really appreciate face-to-face contact again.
Yeah.
Because we'll get to the point where you can't trust what you're seeing, and you're going to have to go and see people for real and meet people for real. So I actually think it will have the consequence of pushing people back out there and getting real life experiences, because you'll go, well, I've watched it, but it might just be a deep fake. I'm actually going to go and watch them live.
Yeah, it's scary stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I seen one, and it was like Joe Biden announcing that we're going to war with Russia, and I was thinking, what? And then it turned out to be a deep fake, and it's like, well, that's really scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. Let's not talk about that, Naz.
Yeah.
What are your plans for the business? Where are you taking it?
Um, just as far as it can go, really. Just look like we're covering good ground across Scotland.
Yeah.
Maybe thinking about doing England soon and Ireland, and maybe just start there, and then just kind of see where it goes from there. Really,
Brilliant.
don't
That's amazing.
I don't try to think too big. Just you can just sail in the boat. See what happens. But I mean, especially like there's a lot of comedians from England contacting me to organise tours, but they just come to me now and say, "Naz, can you just deal with Scotland for me?"
Great.
And so that seems to be kind of a good. I've kind of positioned myself kind of well, so where people are asking that. So I don't know. It just depends how many more comedians are keen to get involved. I'm always finding new areas to do it in, and yeah, hopefully London next.
Yay! Big time. Big
Yeah,
time.
but it's just fun. I'm not really. I think before COVID, I used to be like, oh, I need to make loads of money, and now I'm like, the funny thing is now I'm kind of not caring as much about money. You've kind of almost, and now because of that, it's grown. The business has grown. It's so weird.
Yeah. I think it's when you stop forcing it, Naz, don't you? Is that you just enjoying it for what it is?
Yeah. That's the thing. I've heard that with a lot of things. Once you stop, the money obviously is important, but just you feel like you're building something. Well,
Yeah.
see what happens.
I like that attitude. And what if your business had a personality or a character? Either how would you describe it, or who would it be?
Who would it be? Columbo. Do you know the guy Columbo?
Certainly do.
Everybody thought he was dumb,
Yeah.
and then he got all the information out of people, and actually, oh, he's not so stupid after all. So
Right.
that would be me.
I like that. So you kind of come across as this very laid back, chilled out, slightly, kind of pitching up, just seeing how it goes. But under that is a really sharp mind.
Well, I'll take that. Include that in your clip.
I will do. And what about
it's just fun and games. I think when you, like I say about the money sort of thing, see, when you wake up in the morning, you go, right, I want to make money. It doesn't really, it's too much pressure. But see, when you just see it as I want to help people, when
Yeah.
people reach out and you go, Naz, can you help me organise this? And I'll say, yeah, actually, I can actually,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I like
it
that.
feels good to help, you know.
It does. It feels nice, and you make people laugh. You bring joy to people's lives, which is magic.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that.
that's a good thing. It's just, when you see them, you know, when you see the audience, sometimes we book people and the people, you see that they absolutely love meeting that
Mhm.
person and being there. And then you think, this is what it's all about.
Right.
Like, forget
It
all
really
the
is.
drama online and things like that, It's like, and it
But
feels nice that you contributed towards that.
and when we meet in real life, all that, like you say, the drama online disappears. And I think Katie Hopkins is. I've never met her, so who knows. But I suspect that people like her and other people, when you meet them in real life, and the people who troll people like her and troll other people, when you meet them in real life, they're probably all right. They're probably sound.
Yeah.
You're only seeing like tiny seconds of clips and a persona that they want to portray to get likes and clicks and all the rest of it. And in real life, they're probably nothing like that at all. Who knows? We could be completely wrong, Naz. I don't know, but who knows?
No,
Um,
it seems to. That's the impression I got from Roy Chubby Brown when I spoke to him
yeah,
about doing shows. When I spoke to him, he was so polite and
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Didn't even notice. And then obviously on stage, it's a persona, it's an act. It's not
right.
real. It's like, oh no,
It is. It's an act. It's his act.
he knows his audience and he's
Yeah.
playing for his audience, but it doesn't mean he's nasty person and all that
No,
stuff. And
no, no. It really, really doesn't. And years ago, because I'm a Mancunian, I went to see Jerry Sadovich.
oh yeah,
Because my mate was married to Mark E. Smith of The Fall. So Jerry and Mark knew each other and we got to gigs. And, my claim to fame is being on the guest list at the Hacienda. I've never mentioned that on the podcast, but there we go. And I thought it was hilarious, and he's really, really, if you think Frankie Boyle is close to the bone, go and see Jerry Sandwich. It's like,
yeah,
Jesus Christ, it's on another scale. He is
yeah. And the thing is, people go there knowing they're expecting it.
totally,
So
totally.
surely, if you don't go, if you know.
Yeah.
But he's another one that should be getting more bookings, but a lot of venues just won't take him.
I know, he's so funny. You're right. You only go because you're going to be absolutely offended and spend most of your time going, oh, that's a bit close. Oh, Jerry, that's a bit
Yeah,
much, even for me, but you're still laughing. If you don't like that sort of thing, don't go. Just don't go.
yeah. Because it's a shame if it doesn't happen because there needs to be spaces where things like this can happen. Because if people want to see him and they're
Yeah,
prepared to pay money and they want to see it, but then what happens is a lot of these venues are kind of like council run and you
yeah.
know,
Oh,
and then all it takes is for somebody high up to step in and go, no, that's not happening because
no,
we don't agree, and it's like, oh, where does this end?
I know. I know. And they've got to have, as I said right at the beginning, comedy is an art form. Art has always pushed the boundaries, and comedy more than any other art form, I think, because in comedy, the funny thing is saying the unsayable. That is the funny thing.
Yeah,
It's saying the thing that most normal, sane human beings wouldn't dream of saying, and that's the role of the comedian. And
yeah,
my
and
anyway,
it's just a shame that this is dying out. Everybody's becoming so like straight down the middle now. Just worried to say anything, and
It's not Dine out, it's online. So when you look at the people who now watch and listen to things like, Joe Rogan, I mean, he gets 11 million people, regularly.
yeah,
So I think it's like there's a public face, and then there's things that people are actually doing in their
yeah.
own lives.
Joe
That's what
isn't
I
too
find.
controversial, though, is he? He's a really good. Yeah, he's a really good. He's good at what he does. He knows how to get the thingy,
Yeah.
but he seems to be quite impartial and stuff on some subjects.
Yeah, he just gets a range of guests on that a lot of people find controversial, but
Yeah.
like you, I mean, he gets them from all spectrums and all spaces, and he
Hmm.
gives them a voice, and he asks questions. I mean, it's like you. It's like, yeah, come along, do your stuff. If the crowd likes you, we'll rebook you. If they don't like you, we won't rebook you.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
it. Because people are interested to hear what some people have to say.
yeah, yeah,
But,
definitely.
but yeah,
Right.
it's just becoming one of those things.
Yeah.
We're slowly getting stripped away of what we can do and what we can't do. So, which is a bit of a
Well,
shame.
we'll continue to do podcasts and say what we want, Naz. And then on the 4th of July, because there's a UK election, we'll stand for PM.
So, who do you think's going to win?
Oh, I think Labour will get in. I think we need a change. I
What
don't
about in
normally
Scotland? Who do you think's going
Well, I
to
don't normally get political, because I then would get cancelled. But
get?
because I would just like to see the SNP crawl back under the rock from which they came, because they
Oh,
yeah, I know, that's me cancelled, that's me lost another viewer. I
no, it's
I
just
I just think they've destroyed a really fantastic country, and they've divided it unnecessarily, and they've not invested, they've not attracted investment. I think it's really sad.
but remember, it was all Westminster's fault. Seems to
Yeah.
be the default argument now, is it?
Well, in
Um,
my book, you take responsibility for your actions.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
yeah, I think Scotland, we're crying out for something a little. Look, we just want to have the person leading the country voted by the people. Is that not what democracy is? And
totally.
you know,
Yeah.
whoever wins it fair and square,
Yeah.
but it seems to be. It's funny because they seem to always say, "Oh, the prime minister was never elected," and when we got Boris, "Oh, he was never elected," and then we got Theresa, "She was never elected," and it was like, and Rishi was never elected, and now they can never say that now because it's like, wait a minute.
No, it's
Um,
true. It's
but
true.
we'll see what happens. Hopefully, just we can get the country sorted again because it's
I
just
hope so. Whoever comes into power, I really want them to have in their head that they're here to serve the people, and that they're here to serve the best interests of the people. And I really, really want them to put family at the heart of everything they do. And I don't just mean like family in the two parents, two kids sense. I mean, like, whatever shape or size a family comes in. And then I mean close friends to that, but actually valuing family and what it does and how it raises kids and how it helps the community. And your family, could you be your household, your business, your community? And I mean family in that really broad sense, because we've lost community, and I think it starts with family.
yeah. Oh, maybe you should run.
I've got, too much of a dodgy past, Naz. No way. I'd be out before I was in. Right. Okay. I've taken up way too much of your time. I could talk to you for hours, Columbo, because I'm sure we've got some more stuff to share. But well done. I'm going to crack on. How do I book to go and see Katie Hopkins? Do I go onto her website?
Yeah, you can just go to. You can book it from her website, or you can also book it from our website.
I looked on your website and I couldn't see where she was. I was doing it on mobile, but
yeah, it's because we've got so much other shows happening. If you just search her name, it should come up.
All right, I'll do that. I want to go and see what she has to say. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay, thanks a lot.
No, that's a superstar. Stay on the line a sec because I've got to upload your end of the recording. So we'll say goodbye now, but stay on the line. Bye, Naz. Thank you.
Bye.
Meet Jane Cooper, who is transforming the way she supplies medical staff to the NHS in the UK by reducing their costs. And she's looking at the values of their business and how to incentivize their teams based on the amount they reduce the cost to the NHS by. So get this, that's going to be a team of recruiters receiving a bonus based on how little commission they charge. Love it. Listen and learn. See ya.
The Entrepreneurial Journey podcast. We're talking business and building a culture that's kick-ass. Where we make it happen. Grab your seat, let's have a blast.